But I think that in the short term, we will probably see more pain and more blood on the streets, and that's going to eventually create a new dynamic which we haven't had in some time, which is an increase in inventory, which I'm hopeful we'll see in the next probably 6 to 12 months. Because the reality is that there is a lag between how long it takes for people to default on their payments, um, and when the rates actually go up. Like if you look at the historical data, the lag is about 18 months, right?
But here's the thing:
Yeah.
is that the people who had bought in the peak of the market,
Mm.
who had those variable rates with a static payment,
Yeah.
I mean, the banks didn't seem to care. They just extended everybody's amortization, and that seemed to have been a neat accounting trick. So
For now, like there has been so OSFI is talking is having a hearing on this. I don't remember when exactly. I just saw this yesterday, I think, where they are discussing the matters of those mortgages where amortization ran away with static payments, and they're probably going to. I'm estimating that product will be gone from the shelves and we'll never see it again.
wow, really?
Yeah.
Talk about losing predictability. That was like the product that gave predictability to a consumer.
Yeah, it showed that when there's things like this, like when there's crazy dynamic and there's crazy movement in the market rates, in interest rates, it can really change the way your portfolio looks. Like as far as the bank's portfolio with these mortgages, right? Because their amortization went well over 30% on like 20 something, depending on which bank, but like over 20% in most banks. Like their amortization went over 30 years, which is crazy. So OSFI, I think, isn't about to let that happen again. And that was like a nice product to have. It's for those of you that don't know the difference between what we're talking about and the variable rate mortgage, where your payments do adjust with the interest rate hikes, is that on a static payment mortgage, your payments don't, but your amortization changes, right? So if let's say interest rates go up and the cost of borrowing goes up with it, the amortization extends to sort of take care of the difference in which you're supposed to pay towards interest, for the most part, not so much principal. Principal, actually, the portion shrinks significantly.
And we saw people hit their trigger rate where there was no principal anymore.
Yeah, there's no more principal. In those cases, like we'll see what happens next. You'll probably have to come up with, like, the bank will give you the options of probably either paying up the difference so they can retain the same amortization as they originally had, right? So let's say you haven't been making any principal pay downs for like a couple of years and your maturity comes due. Like it's quite possible that you might have to requalify, essentially, like refinance.
But
You have
that's
to refinance the amortization again.
right. And who's going to finance a deal with a mortgage that's amortized by 45 years?
No, what's going to happen is you'll have to reamortize it over 30. So you won't have, so the payments will have to just change. Like if you're coming due for renewal and you had that extended amortization that went over, let's say, 35 or 40 years, and now you're due. Like again, I'm not sure how each individual bank is dealing with it, but I think there'll be a point where the option will be to either refinance, meaning that you're going to reamortize the loan again, typically over 30 years, because there is no more 30-year amortization through most big five banks. And then if you don't want to reamortize it or you can't requalify it, well, then the next option, the easiest option, is just to pay the difference. Like if you haven't been paying the principal pay down and you have amortization of, let's say, 21 years left or 20 years left, well, okay, well, you could probably pay down the difference of what you should have been paying on the principal, but you haven't been. And now you're sort of back to where you should be, but then the payments now will change because the interest rate adjusts.
So either a lump sum or they'll work it into a payment plan.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not 100% sure how they're going to deal with it yet. Not a lot, I think, of this has happened where it's become a problem yet, but we'll see how we're going to deal with this problem long term, because it will happen more often next year and the year after.